episode number 19.
Wow.
Chuck, what is the number 19 when it comes to athletes? What does the number 19 mean to you?
19. Well, first of all, keeps going up. Number 19. I can't believe we're almost to 20. So after this episode, we'll be on number 20. So cool stuff. When I think of 19, though, there's a few guys that come to mind. The first one that you think you kind of probably will disagree with me, Joe Montana. Now, Joe Montana was part of the Kansas City Chiefs. He was number 19. Granted, with the San Francisco 49ers, he was number 16, won 4 or 5 championships, with the 49ers. But I figured that'd be a good little honorable mention for the NFL. But I also think of Adam Thielen. That's a stud right there. Bernie Kosar, the old Cleveland Browns.
Big time.
That's big time right there. Keyshawn Johnson, one of the most underrated receivers as far as because he's played in some bad teams. And he was back in probably one of the better top-tier receivers in the league in his prime. Remember Miles Austin in Dallas?
That's right. I was thinking that earlier. I wasn't sure, if he was the number 19. Rest in peace to him, because was it Miles Austin was 19? Now, was Terry Glenn, was he also 19 or no?
I thought he was 18.
Have to fact-check that one. But, yeah, you're right.
He was 18.
No, you're right. Miles Austin, that's the number 19 from Dallas that I do remember, and he had a couple of pretty good seasons there with Romo.
How about in baseball, Joey Votto of the Cincinnati Reds?
Pretty big time number 19.
I think that's
right
the
there.
biggest one to me in baseball that I think of. I'm sure you got one, but to me in baseball, that's what I think of. NBA, there's one guy I can think of. You remember Don Nelson?
Don Nelson. I don't recall much of Don Nelson.
Don Nelson, he's an NBA coach. Well-known, respected coach, but he also played with the Boston Celtics in the 60s, got him 5 championships. He's got a jersey retired in Boston, so he's one of the Boston greats as well. So Don Nelson, look him up. So, he coached he coached some Golden State Warriors back before we know the Golden State Warriors as we know them today.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, he's an old school coach, a little older guy, but in the 60s, he was one of the Celtic greats. like I said, he's got his number retired, 5 championships. No slouch there, man. Who's your 19?
Talk about baseball. What about Tony Gwynn?
Right? Tony
Gwynn, Mr. Padre. You might remember him. 15-time All-Star, 8-time NL batting champ, 5-time Gold Glover. He got it done. 7-time Silver Slugger and a Hall of Famer in Tony Gwynn. Now, also, you talk about NBA, Willis Reed.
That's a good one.
You might remember Willis Reed with the Knicks. He played for the Knicks his entire career, but he was a 7-time All-Star there. Won the MVP once, a 2-time NBA champion. Johnny Unitas, when it comes to number 19, also.
I forgot about Johnny Football, the original Johnny Football, man. Oh, man.
A little before our time, Chuck, but a 10-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time AP NFL MVP. He won 1 Super Bowl. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, obviously one of the legendary guys to ever get it done on the gridiron.
Well, and he also played in probably one of the greatest football games ever, the greatest game ever played with the New York Giants. Was the originator of passing the ball downfield. He was one of the he was a pioneer in his day. He was one of the best quarterbacks of his era. So it made me wonder, could he what would his numbers be if he was playing in the league right now? He probably would be astronomical.
You would think he would be adaptive to whatever the playing style is now, and a legendary player, I think, in the past. Usually I think that's going to translate, because you hear a lot of the comparisons, even in basketball, too, when you talk about, how would they fare in today's game? It wasn't a great three-point shooter, but, well, they shoot a lot more three-pointers today, so you would think anybody back in the day that was great at scoring the ball on the inside also would be able to adapt and get a good three-point shot. Michael Jordan, I'm sure, would be raining threes in today's league.
Oh, yeah, he'd be raining threes. But it's just go back to what I said. You see a lot of passing now. You go back in the old days in the 60s and 70s when Johnny was playing, it was all about running the football, hard-nosed style. and he was one of the original quarterbacks that made passing a thing. So hats off. If you want to thank a guy that really got the passing game going, Johnny Unitas is probably the poster boy to look at there.
In a pass-happy league, you would think that would definitely translate, right?
Yeah, hats off. Gotta say hats off. I noticed in my notes, you said the Raptors are probably playing in a season in Nashville. Are you talking about the Toronto Raptors?
So that's what I was hearing. Actually, they're looking because of the laws, the rules, or whatever that's going on in Canada right now. I guess with COVID, they're not going to allow them to play their season there. So they're looking at alternatives, and Nashville might be one of those alternatives. I was actually hearing on talk radio on the way home today. They were discussing that a little bit and, asking, would that necessarily make you an NBA fan, or would that make you a Raptors fan if they were here for a season, as far as people here in the local audience? And I'm a Memphis Grizzlies fan, but I don't think a lot of the folks around Nashville necessarily keep that affiliation because there's a lot of transplants. I think you would obviously draw a lot of people there and increase your NBA audience just in the region, just because they'd be wanting to go there. It'd be a real hot ticket for, if your team's coming into play, LeBron's coming in, Giannis, whoever that may be that somebody wants to see. Nashville's popping, and they're starving for some live entertainment right now. So, if the Raptors were there, would you go to a game?
I'd go because it'd be interesting. And you said, like, for Nashville, it'd be popping. Mm-hmm. So, as far as popping, it gives that extra exposure. I mean, with Memphis, that's one thing. That's plumb on the other side, west of the state. That's on the end of the state. So
it's a 4-hour drive from here. It's worth it.
It is.
Go down there to the FedEx Forum and catch a game.
But imagine getting it to Bridgestone Arena, in the middle of Nashville. So this is a good audition. If it's true, it'll be a great audition, because this could only open up possibilities for, like, maybe an NBA All-Star. Granted, you have to have an NBA team to have an NBA All-Star, but this could make them go outside the realm of that, thinking, well, Nashville is a popular tourist attraction. You have fun there. The NFL draft was a gigantic success. I mean, the NHL All-Star game was a gigantic success.
I think you're missing the big point here, though. Like, an All-Star game would be great, but what about an NBA team in Nashville?
I'm not on board with that. It just, you don't want to crowd yourself with too many pro franchises.
There's a lot of states that do, though.
Granted,
how many teams are there in Florida and California and New York? I think you could probably support it, but I mean, it's an audition is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it could be an audition, possibly. But I feel like we've already got a pitch for an MLB Major League Baseball team right now. Mm-hmm. It's just, we got the Titans, we got the Preds, we got a Major League Soccer team. So, I mean, you got 3 right now that's going on with a possible 4th coming in. I don't know, man. It's just, Nashville's big, but they're not like big like New York or Los Angeles. Maybe that's too much to ask for. I'm not sure.
Chuck. Like I said, it'll be an audition anyways. If Toronto were to come, they're looking at other options too. I think Kansas City, a couple other spots that may bring them in and let them play there for this coming season. But they are kicking around the idea of playing in Nashville.
Well, I mean, it's a great consideration, first of all, because like you said, Nashville's a growing city, and it just makes it even better to know that another sports organization is looking to at least come by and visit for 1 year. So that's cool. So I'm down with that. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm down for it. That gives a whole new entire attraction for Nashville now, is the NBA coming to Nashville. So it'd be pretty neat to see. You'll get to see your stars. And also you got the NBA commissioner and Adam Silver that will come and see. He may be impressed and maybe want to buy an expansion team for Nashville. Who knows what will happen? But to me, I don't think we need to go there just yet. Don't need to go there.
It's a wait and see, Chuck.
I agree. I'm just saying, if I had to decide now, no go for me.
Nobody's asking you, Chuck. If the NBA's coming in, they're going to be coming in hot for folks that like to watch basketball a lot more than you do.
That is true. That is true. But I'm more of a football guy myself. But speaking of football, let's talk about some college football over the weekend. We had some games going on. But before we begin, you heard some of the games that are canceled, right? We've got 3 games that are canceled. One is because of the hurricane moving in. Forget what is it Ida, whatever it's called. I'm not no meteorologist by any stretch means necessary, and I'm not dare going to try it. But anyways, they're saying the Arkansas and Florida game is canceled for right now. And then you also got the COVID situation with Alabama, LSU, Tennessee, and Texas A&M game. So it's going to be a very short week in football. So it's getting now we're getting to the point now where COVID is starting to really spike again.
Yeah. I mean, that's unfortunate too. I've seen it affect some folks around me. It's affected my work as far as that goes. And you're seeing it spread around some of the major cities, and Nashville being one of those. We're going to hope for the best. You're seeing it spread around a few more sports now, too. Now, you're also seeing some of these reports come out. I know Clay Travis says something here recently about I think what they're saying is they haven't been able to connect a case to live play when it comes to sports, as far as, I guess, contacted on the field. Now, I don't know how you trace that. I'd imagine if it transmits from a team to another, that's what has to happen in some form or another. But look into that report as far as that goes. But you're seeing more positives as far as that goes in the NFL too, right, Chuck?
You are, and that's what I'm going to say now, that it's just not college football. It's every sport now that's happening. You got NFL, who Pittsburgh's all of a sudden getting hit, and you saw me on Twitter tweeting about them saying, well, forfeit. You were telling us to forfeit. Don't be hypocritical.
I know that's right.
So, I mean, I was throwing that out there because of my Titan self saying they were like the ones heading up saying, it's frustrating that they do this and yada, yada, yada. They got COVID. Well, now you got it. It's time to face some heat yourself. But it's going around all sports. It is worrisome because we knew this was coming. We knew that between October all the way to December, there was possibility of spikes between flu, COVID. When you got those two mixed again together, you're in for a recipe for a disaster. I hope not. I hope we can ride it out. The NFL, I mean, I know I'm talking college ball, but I just want to switch over to the NFL, just give you a quick tidbit. What their plans is, if the season does get shut down, is to have an 8-team playoff. So there'll be 16 teams. You got 8 for the NFC, 8 for the AFC to play it out, just like a bubble, just like what the NBA did. So where's your thoughts on that one, Ryan? Is that a good plan? We're already past the halfway point of the NFL.
It's just an excuse to go ahead and expand the playoffs. They're using it as an opportune time, I think, to do that. That's my honest
like
analysis.
The way you think. I mean, no, that's exactly what I'm thinking. They're trying to push this they've been trying to push this on the players for a long time to expand the league, to expand the playoffs. So this could be like a chance to experiment to try to get that going forward. So 100% with you there, Ryan. I think it's just this. They're using COVID as an excuse. Well, this could be a chance it gets canceled, so we need to go ahead and try this bubble thing out, a.k.a. try the 8-team playoff out. Yep. I'm not on board with it, first of all. Let it play out. You've made it this far. We still got a lot of tight races to go, and you're going to go ahead and cancel it and maybe – no, I'm not on board with that at all. You can tell I am just not on board with anything tonight whatsoever. But going back to college football, you hate to see what's happening in the SEC. But let's talk about what happened in the past week. Your Gators, man, they finally got over the hurdle. They finally climbed the mountain over Georgia. Kyle Trask, at this point, I'm going to put my fandom aside, fall fandom aside, and give that dude props. After him throwing a pick six, I was like, they're broken. Because this is why Georgia does you every year. Trash came out and balled 474 yards and 4 touchdowns after that pick six. Mm-hmm. Dude earned his stripes. And, in the SEC, that's what kind of games you need to have, is to beat somebody that's constantly beating you in your division to get to the championship. Now their path is automatically cleared, you would think. But to me, was this the moment that the Gators were waiting on, Ryan? As a Gators fan, was this a moment that you were waiting on?
It's the next step. It's an SEC gauntlet. This is a big game that you needed. This was, going in the way Florida's playing, the way Georgia's playing. You thought if there was a year that they were going to beat them, this was definitely going to be it. They've played them in the past. It's been competitive, but they just, couldn't finish. And that's what good teams do. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Right, Chuck?
In the words of the great Ric Flair, exactly, Ryan.
Ooh.
And you know what? You earned y'all guys earned your stripes, but you still got 4 games to go. Anything can happen. The Vols at the end of the year could spoil something. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Wow, Chuck.
Just saying.
Do we really want to talk about Vols?
I will get to them here in a minute, but your boys beat the Georgia. We're going to get there in a minute because I've got a lot to say about a lot of things about that game.
We're doing a little victory lap with Florida here over Georgia, and for some reason, you want to bring the Vols into it.
I always want to. The Vols have got to get referenced somewhere down the road. Vols
for punishment, man. Oh man,
But the Georgia game, y'all won it 44-28. So what was it, like 24 unanswered at one point? So I mean,
yeah.
And I think this offense solidified itself as probably the top offense in the country because they beat a good Georgia defense. This defense was no slouch whatsoever. So to me, it's just like you do not want to see Florida get this tunnel vision to focus on Bama. You still got a lot of games to go. You still got to get through all this COVID situation. But I think they're well on the way to play their, ultimate matchup against Alabama. So
1 week at a time, Chuck.
What that? 1
week at a time.
Exactly, 1 week at a time. But you got to admit, Dan Mullen's got them boys flying high. That's for sure.
Yep, but I can't say it any better than that.
There you go. So you look at Leach. Let's look at the Mississippi State Bulldogs against the Vanderbilt Commodores. Holy crap. This was an ugly win by a stretch. I think it was 24-17 Mississippi State. Dud game, nothing to talk about here. Vanderbilt continues to lose until they probably get their first win of the year against us, and I'm going to be pissed by a freaking mile, man. It's just – I don't think it happened. Let's just move on. The Texas A&M Aggies, they played against the Carolina Gamecocks. Almost, keywords almost shut them out, 48-3. Will Muschamp, his seat has got to be not scolding, but it's getting hotter there for sure, Ryan. Do you think?
You're going to have down years, and I think in a weird year like 2020, maybe they give him a break. But it's not a good look. Like you said, it was almost a shutout. South Carolina with 5:55 left in the game got that field goal just to prevent the shutout. But overall, they were shut down in this game. Things just, went out of hands for them. Kellen Mond, went off for 4 touchdowns here too. You saw Florida struggle to contain them as well. Legitimate player, somebody you got to count for. Texas A&M's not a real bad team. It's just, consistency wise, can they bring that same thing week in and week out?
Yeah, it's a little bit too late because they did blow that game with Alabama. Granted, they got in return. They beat Florida, but still.
Only one loss still. So, I mean.
Yeah, only one loss still, but they still got to have Bama at least lose 2 games, and they still got to play I forget who they play. They still got to play LSU. That could be a trap. Well, did they play LSU already?
I'm not sure. And like I say, the one loss though on their schedule is going to be Florida, so their record is identical right now. So, you got to watch out there. Alabama has to play Florida there as well. So you could see some things mix up. It's going to be interesting.
All right, let's get to what I said earlier. Let's get to the Vols game.
Here we go.
The Vols did find a way to lose. Again, another second half debacle. As you know, they lost 24-13, led 13-0 at halftime. All right, I'm going in. I'm going to loosen up. I'm going in for the kill. There's 2 things you need to look at here. One, there's more problems than Garantano. I'm sick and tired of Garantano just like everybody else. but now it's going deeper. It's going into the coaching staff. Our coaching staff cannot be this bad. Are you kidding? It cannot be this horrible. And then you look on the other side. You've got these fans yapping, yip, 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 yip. We want to fire Pruitt. We want to fire Pruitt. We want to fire – you know what? Screw you guys. I am so sick and tired of the Ball Nation. For one, we are overtitled sissies that continue to cry thinking, if we get a new coach, this is it. Well, guess what? I'm the part of the Vols fan that don't want another freaking rebuild. I don't want to rebuild again. This is our fourth coach since Philip Fulmer's been here. Maybe we do need to give the guy some time. Yes, maybe he's botched the quarterback situation at Tennessee. But I am so sick and tired of these fans saying, fire this coach, fire that coach. You want to fire a coach? I tell you what, don't be doing a coaching search. Do a team search. Go somewhere else. Go to be a Bama fan. Go be a Florida fan for all I care. I am so sick and tired of these fans that continue to cry for new freaking coaches. Let it play out. And this is his third year. He just got an extension. Guess what, Vol Nation? He's not going anywhere. We paid this dude. Philip Fulmer's got faith in this dude. I still got faith in this dude. Give the guy his due. Give the guy his break. There. I think I went after more of the fans because I'm sick and tired of fans squawking. I'm sorry I took a lot of screen time on that. A lot of build-up on that. I wanted to tweet about it, but it's just like repetitiveness with the Ball Nation. But to me, some of these fans that we have in our Ball Nation are pathetic. Just absolutely pathetic. Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead. You're good.
The Vols have been letting you down over and over, season after season. Is it even worth the blood pressure at this point?
It is not. That's why I just kind of accepted it. I hate this. Do I like us being 2-5? We earned it then if we're 2-5.
Not a fun position. Now,
it is not.
The rant. What you're saying is you're happy with the job Jeremy Pruitt's doing, or you just don't think there's anything out there as far as that goes that could better the football team. Absolutely no one. And I hear this name, Hugh Freeze. No. He says he's not leaving Liberty until he finishes the job there. And if I'm him, I'm not leaving for the Tennessee job. That's why I'm saying you keep doing that. That devalues that job. It devalues what Tennessee was. When Philip Fulmer left, go ahead, Brian. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to get in there. I was going to let you, man. But for Mike Van Gundy didn't want to even come. He didn't want to leave the lowly Oklahoma State Cowboys, who have not won a Big 12 championship in God knows how long. He could have went to Tennessee. He didn't want to come to Tennessee. Mike, of course, I think that was more people hiring, but I think he probably didn't want to come to Tennessee. But it was a whole debacle, and it was exhausting, man. It was a mockery against everything. They can say, well, the fans actually chose somebody. Well, guess what? You chose Pruitt. I don't think we need to blame the admins on this. We need to blame the fans on this because they wanted this to happen instead of Schiano. Who knows what Schiano would have done? He probably would have been fired this year. Who knows? But to me, the fans wanted this decision. They wanted this to happen. Do you remember, Ryan, raising so much anarchy about it? So, they wanted this to happen. Here's what you got, 2-5. And there's nobody better out there. You might as well stick to your guns and ride out this year. This year is pretty much a dud, as 2020 is. Just build off on it. Try to finish the best way you can. There's still chance to prove that this season's not a total failure. You still got Texas A&M you can beat. You still got Florida you maybe can possibly upset. You got Vanderbilt and you got Auburn. So hopefully you can ride it out and finish at least 2-2, maybe, or maybe 3-1 at best. But there's still a chance. But the fans that want a new coach, get the hell out of here. Done with you.
Do you think Butch Jones would be doing a better job if he had just got to keep his job after that disastrous season that got him fired? Do you think he could have righted this ship?
No, he didn't, because I think this was the worst finish that Tennessee had when his last year.
I guess let me rephrase that question. Do you think Greg Schiano would have this team in a better position?
Well, because he has head coaching experience. I think that's where it's coming in and not working out for Pruitt. Pruitt does not have that head coaching experience, hence the quarterback situation that we have at Tennessee right now. Has he botched it? Absolutely. I think that's one thing I will agree.
All I've heard for the past couple seasons, though, is like, look at these recruiting classes coming in here to UT. And then they even gave you Cade Mays. How's that experiment working out?
It's not working out well. I mean, it's kind of overhyped it a little bit because he was a Tennessee boy, was good at Georgia, and he came to Tennessee.
Didn't come to the home team town initially. Decided I'm going
to No, he went to Georgia.
To Georgia, and then decides, I want to come back. They allow him to come back even with the transfer rules and stuff like that. Now, I guess the way they are now is going to be like the wild, wild west and a free agency in NCAA football going forward anyways, and this just kind of starts that. But I say a lot to say little. There was a lot of hype for a lot of these recruiting classes, and every year, going in for UT. I told you, man, I don't know if Jeremy Pruitt's going to be the guy or not. But, do you go ahead and pull the Band-Aid if he just continues to lose games like this Arkansas game? Felipe Franks, does he just have the Vols number? I don't know.
Who knows? I think it might be a little bit of both. Felipe Franks has been a nightmare for Tennessee for the last 4 years. You know this. He did it for y'all when he played against us, and now he went to Arkansas, does it again. He made great throws. He made great plays. Let's not deny that.
What are you referring to? Are you talking like the Felipe Franks Hail Mary to Cleveland?
If you want to go on that, expand on that, yes, absolutely. He made a lucky play, all right? He had a big arm, and he put it in right in the breadbasket.
Couple lucky plays this past Saturday as well.
Yeah.
But UT, I mean, now I did see a different quarterback trot out there at some point too, right?
Bailey did come in, and a little bit too late. Bailey, I believe they should have rolled with him at least. Roll out, get away from Garantano for one. That's what the number one thing I think we need to do. Get away from that guy.
We've been saying that for a while.
Do what now?
We've been saying that for a while.
But no, every time now I watch him, I clench. I'm just like, oh, God, what is he going to do? He's going to throw. Is he going to fumble the football? Is he going to throw the interception? What is he going to do, man? I was like, I can't take this garbage anymore, man. It hurts you, man. It makes you just
you would think that they would have a better option there. And again,
absolutely
beating a dead horse.
That's what I'm saying. It goes back to coaching. Either they just don't have enough confidence in the quarterbacks that they got, or they're just not developing these quarterbacks and realize what they got in front of them. Who knows, man? This is just pure old Tennessee. Pure old Tennessee at this point. Now I don't have to worry about them playing this weekend. Don't have to get my heart broken this weekend unless the Titans fumble it away Thursday. God forbid, please, no.
Chuck, I'm not liking your negativity tonight.
I'm not negative, man. I'm just throwing it out there and being real, man.
This is what the Vols will do to a man.
Oh, God, you have no idea. Well, wait a minute, you had some rough years with Will Muschamp in Florida.
There were some exciting times. You just couldn't get an offense out there. His defense was always locked down. But, yeah, a couple rough years. Nothing quite like the stretch you guys are going through. Muschamp beat up on Tennessee.
We just keep floating into the abyss. We keep floating into the abyss.
Well, Chuck, we'll get away from you. We'll let you step away from the ledge.
God.
We'll move right into the NFL. Let's talk about this past week, week 9.
Ahead.
So week 9 in the NFL, if we take a quick look back on Thursday night's game, Aaron Rodgers lit up the 49ers. Green Bay 34, San Fran 17. Josh Allen and the Bills pulled off a big-time win against the Seahawks. Surprised me, Buffalo 44, Seattle 34. I think I heard the day after Josh Allen's grandmother died. So you hate to hear that, but man, to go out there, put that aside, that in the back of your mind, he went out there and balled out. 4 touchdowns in that game, I believe. But yeah, Buffalo 44, Seattle 34. The Falcons, they fall just short of another blowjob. Blue balls for the Broncos. Atlanta 34, Denver 27.
Oh boy now.
Speaking of sucking, the Giants won the NFC East Suck Fest of the week. New York 23, Washington 20. Dalvin Cook and the Vikings ran all over the Lions. Minnesota 34, Detroit 20. And then the Chiefs, they found a way to avoid getting mauled by the Panthers. The Panthers had a couple double-digit leads in this one and looked really good, but Kansas City would not go away. Got it done in the end. Kansas City 33, Carolina 31. They attempted some crazy long field goal at the end of that, too. It was like
65, 70 yards almost.
It was up there, man.
It was up there.
But
then also you had McCaffrey come back this weekend too and look good. But he's hurt again.
He's hurt again.
He's hurt again.
The Texans, they barely beat a no-name Jags squad. Backup quarterback actually looked decent in that game. Houston, 27, Jacksonville, 25. Lamar and the Ravens take down the Colts. Baltimore, 24, Indy, 10. The Raiders beat the Chargers on a last-second, somewhat controversial incomplete pass call, as it just seems to keep happening to the Chargers. Vegas 31, LA 26. Big Ben pulled out the walking boot and barely pulled out the W over a beat-up Cowboys squad. Pittsburgh 24, Dallas 19. The Dolphins, led by Tua, grounded the Cardinals. Miami 34, Arizona 31. The Sunday night game, Chuck, thought it was going to be a classic. It turned out to be a blowout for the Saints. New Orleans 38, Tampa Bay 3. The Jets found a way to save their season by blowing it against the Pats. New England 30, New York 27, keeping them right in the hunt for Trevor Lawrence. Maybe the reason he decides to come back to school, who knows?
I think he'll go back to school. I would go back to school, man. But
we said the best for last. The Titans taking care of business at home against the Bears. As look, the defense looked good. I don't know if it was so much the defense looking great, that Bears offense looking really shitty.
Well, it's just that's why I'm saying the defense, I guess they took the initiative to actually play their asses play a lot better, man. They had to, because there was changes in the air, man, and then you saw them get after it a lot. Third down was a lot better. I think they held them under 50%, and that's the first time they've done that since the Denver game. So applaud to that. So, and then you got also Desmond King making a play.
He had a touchdown, right, before he ever had a practice with the team.
Hey, man, I'll take it. I mean, to me, though, you got to credit Jeffrey Simmons, man. That dude's a monster. I called it before the season. He may not be getting the sacks, but he's making the plays to keep us in ball games or winning us ball games. That's the guy I want. Somebody that gets after it and makes the plays we need to get the ball back in our favor.
Absolutely. Big Jeff actually was the highest-rated defensive player in the entire league this week. I think
yes.
To Pro Football Focus. That, and then you saw the success even when the offense really didn't do much. I mean, Tannehill and Henry basically took it easy throughout this game. Tannehill 10 of 21, 158, 2 touchdowns in the game. You had the defensive touchdown there too. Now, you say that, Nick Foles, 36 of 52, he had 2 touchdowns in the game, 335 yards.
Garbage time numbers, though.
They were garbage time numbers, absolutely. Yeah. But you still, that bend don't break thing towards the end, you hate to see those points given up. I mean, it's not indicative, I guess, the scoreboard of the way that this game went. But I do want to see us close things out a little bit better.
Yeah, I do too. I did get a little concerned at the end, but not too concerned. But it goes back to what I said on defense. They played enough to where they did not have to depend on the offense to pull them out of a situation. I mean, you look at the Cincinnati game. We depended on that offense way too much, and it burned us. It's vice versa. Our defense closed down on the Bears, forcing turnovers, stopping them on third down, just making plays. That's what we need to do. I mean, we're not – I don't want them – I would love them to be the top defense in the league, but I just want a defense right now that can make the plays, that can get it like bend, don't break, but make the plays to get the ball back in our favor to win the game. And half the season we've done it, and yeah, you're right. I mean, Tannehill and Henry was not the theme. They were not the head thing today. I mean, to me, if we're looking at the offense, A.J. Brown balled out. He was a man amongst boys against a good secondary for the Chicago Bears that shut down the Tampa Bay offense. Mind you, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and the Gronk. I mean, and you look at A.J. Brown, he is continually being a consistent force at receiver that we've been dying for a long time to need. So, Ryan, what's your thoughts on A.J. Brown right now?
He's strung together quite a few games now with a touchdown. And what he had 4 receptions on 9 targets for 101 and a touchdown here. Jonnu Smith scoring the other touchdown in this game. But A.J. Brown, he provides a big spark. He's going to be a star in the league, and you can tell that early. Just the way he can break away as far as even on a short little pass. It's crazy to think that him and DK Metcalf played in the same offense.
Oh, that's
as far as that goes, because both of those guys tearing the league up right now. I think the more chances, you get to A.J. Brown out there, the more success he's going to have. I hope that we keep finding ways to get him, Corey Davis, involved in the passing game, and keep finding ways of getting him in open space so that he can get out there and make a play, because he's showing over and over and over again he's certainly capable of doing it.
That's what I'm saying. It's just we've been dying to need that offensive weapon on the outside of a receiver to set the tone, because the Titans' signature is the running game. Everybody knows that from day one, from CJ, back when they had CJ 2K, Eddie George, and to now we got Henry. Everybody's keying in on Henry, but to me, the ultimate X factor is A.J. Brown. You get him going early, this offense is unstoppable. So applaud, man. That is awesome.
For sure, but I still think the motor that makes this offense work is Derrick Henry. He still had, 21 carries. Yeah. He didn't tear things up by any means, but you feed him. Whenever they lock up and stack that box for him, it makes things easier on the passing game. So it's going to work hand in hand. You want a balanced offense, right? And, I still think running backs are undervalued in today's league. You can plug and play a lot of guys, but when you have a guy, a bell cow like Henry that you can keep feeding, and that, look, defenders get tired of tackling that guy. When there's a legitimate fear in their eyes that they're going to be on the next viral video getting shoved around by Henry, it's quite an X factor, right? And it's going to open things up for guys like A.J. Brown.
Yeah, and I call it making business decisions and near the end of the game. When you have a 6'5", 250-pound man running after you, you're going to have to make business decisions, because if you take this guy up high and he stiff arms you, your stock's going down. Where's Josh Norman? I still can't find him anywhere, Chief. Can't still find him nowhere. Where's Earl Thomas nowadays? Where is he? Is he flipping burgers at McDonald's? So you got to make business decisions when you're tackling this man. So I totally agree with you. Totally the motor of the team. But you got to think A.J. Brown is the oil that makes this machine run really clean and efficient. So to me, the pieces are finally coming together for the Titans offense. And I think that's what's really taking us to the next level, getting us out of this 8-8, 9-9 team that everybody's accustomed to. So, I mean, it seems like we're getting to that passing point, but I'm not going to, all right, we're finally being that team. We still got to win a couple of games down the road. And speaking of games, Indianapolis, we're finally getting a game against them this Thursday. So we're coming off a good win over the Bears, short week, coast right into the Indianapolis Colts. They're right behind us in the division, Ryan. This is going to be a pivotal game. I can't stress this enough. And it'll be interesting to see what we're going to do. So you look at it, it's the 51st regular season matchup. So we played against each other for a long time. Yes, the Colts have owned us for a long time, 34-16 overall record. The Colts D has allowed the third fewest rushing yards all year. Titans ground attack, 6th in the league. So, Ryan, what are your three keys, for the Titans to win against the Indianapolis Colts?
Well, you mentioned the rushing statistics there, and that's why I think it's going to be key to get Derrick Henry rolling early. I think you want to feed him early and you want to feed him often because you want to keep pounding those defenders. You know, you may have a couple of those 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yard gains. You want to keep feeding him the rock, at least on early downs, though, and strike a little fear in those defenders. You know, that's a great defensive team they've got over there on that side of the ball. But, you know, if we can contain Phillip Rivers enough, they're going to be out there on the field a decent amount against this offense. This offense is one that's been moving the ball and staying out there as well. Now, you've seen things slack off a little bit the last couple of weeks, but get Henry involved early and often, and you're going to be able to play action off of that as well. It goes without saying, you know, feed number 22. I think you also want to look as far as to shore up the secondary. Again, another obvious one, but, you know, you saw improvements last week. You still saw some numbers put up down the stretch, and it's probably, again, that bend, don't break mentality once you have the lead. But with Phillip Rivers, that's the one thing you got to worry about here, I think, as far as that goes. You know, the running game's not been great for him. With that being said, still going to have to watch out because, you know, we've made a name out of a couple of guys, especially within the AFC South. But sure things up in the secondary. The most important thing, I think, wrap up and tackle. We've saw throughout this season, even when we've got pressure, there's times where we're letting some guys get away and making some plays. I mean, I even think of one big example, Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs last year. That was one of the hardest plays to watch. Now, it's a different team, but then you saw what Joe Burrow did a couple of times. Now he's shifty, sure, but let's be real. When Jadeveon Clowney gets a clean hit on a guy, which, you know, hopefully we're going to have it for this game. I'm not 100% sure at this point, but wrap up and tackle from the secondary all the way down to the defensive line. When you get there, get a hand on a guy. You don't necessarily have to knock that ball out, even though, look, if you Jeffrey Simmons, keep doing your thing. But get there, wrap up, tackle, and then, you know, worst case, hold on. Wait for somebody to come clean that up. But we got to have to bring things up. It's one of the fundamentals when it comes to football, right? It goes without saying. Again, it's no news. Get Henry involved. Sure things up in the secondary. Tackle, please.
I like your keys to the game against the Colts. I'm going to have some of my own. We need to neutralize that running game for the Colts. The Colts have an underrated running game, as you know. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, but Wilkins has come on strong here lately. And, of course, you guys, well, whoever's back there, you need to neutralize the running game. And I think Titans do a great job as far as, like, when they neutralize the running game. I mean, they neutralized David Montgomery. They neutralized even though Giovanni Bernard got 2 touchdowns, but he didn't have a lot of yards. They've not let a good running back break out on them in a while, I don't think. I could be wrong, but we got to start by putting on the running game. Stop it. Neutralize it. Take it out of the equation for the Colts. You do that, then it leads into my second key. Constantly pressure Rivers. Make Rivers win the game. Now, hold on. You're thinking, well, this is Phillip Rivers. But no, this Rivers is old, man. It's old and wore out. To me, Phillip Rivers has had some good games and bad games. In order for us to get that bad game from Rivers, like you said, tackle and wrap up, we got to get to every once in a while get 1 sack on Rivers. We got to make Rivers look over his shoulders every freaking time he sets back the throw, man. We got to blitz. We got to do something to get that constant pressure. We need Landry. We need Simmons. Hopefully, like you said, we get Clowney back. Hopefully, we get Adoree Jackson and Fulton both back to help neutralize that secondary enough to where Rivers is going to hold on to the ball so much to where we can get to him. And then this is this is my crucial third key, third down. Make it a priority. Stop them on third down and make the third down plays on offense. This is more of both sides of the ball here. Third down's got to be a priority, I think, mostly on defense. You look at the last 2 weeks. Third down against Cincy, not good. And then when we lost like we did, we shut down the Bears, even though they're the worst third down team in the league, but we still did our job and still didn't give up anything. And that's what we need. We need that defense. Offense, I think we consistently can. Well, I think we honestly both can say that the Titans' offense is efficient on third downs, whether it's passing or running the football, but it still needs to be a priority. So that's my keys to the game for the Indianapolis Colts. So I know we're going to talk about them in our predictions coming up, but we'll go ahead and do the predictions now. So, Ryan, if we run our keys exactly, do you think we still win?
Well, look, Frank Reich, he's 3-1 against the Titans. Phillip Rivers got a pretty good record against the Titans as well. So, you talk about, he's getting old, but, he's been old for a few years now, and we've failed to slow him down in a couple of those matchups. Look, we hit on a lot of obvious ones because we've had a lot of fundamental flaws when it comes to defense. So, I got to rush the passer. Certainly, that's going to help things out for sure. Shut down that running game, shore up the secondary. If all these things happen, it's going to be a blowout, right?
Yeah, it should be, but we all, like you said, the Colts have our number, dude. They've always had our number for like the past 10, 15 years. My prediction is I think we win this game by 10 points. I know we're 1.5 point favorites. I don't like being favorites at all, man.
That's pretty low for a home team here, I think, in this matchup especially. They're going to cover that for sure. But, I mean, when you look at it, it's an AFC South rivalry. The Colts coming to town. You mentioned we've struggled against them, over the past decade or so, mostly with Andrew Luck at the helm, though. Things are a little bit different. We split things last year. I think we split things the last 2 years, but we've lost the last 2, I think, maybe 3 home games against the Colts. So it'd be a real nice to shore things up on prime time here. I think the Titans are capable of doing it.
Yeah, like you said, if we also can, like you said, get Henry going and establish that run game, keep the time possession in our favor, keep it in our advantage, because the more we keep Phillip Rivers on the sidelines, the better off we will be and wear out the Colts have a very good defense. We've got to wear him down. And I have no doubt that Henry can do it. He did it against Pittsburgh, probably one of the top defenses in the entire league. Henry does it consistently, game in and game out, no matter where you ranked on defense. I think Henry gets 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, really gets himself established back as one of the top running backs in the NFL alongside with Dalvin Cook.
I hope you're right as a fan of the team and as a fantasy football owner who has Derrick Henry on basically every team, most of my leagues. I tend to think that he's going to get his fair share of touches, but I think the passing game will probably prevail in this game more so. But, one way or the other, I hope to see some balance, when it comes to that. So let's roll right into then, the predictions for this coming week. We've already hit on the Colts and the Titans. We'll jump back to that. But, Chuck, what about SEC play?
Like you said, there's only 3 games that are going to play. Granted, Arkansas and Florida have a line, but I think it's going to get taken away. But we'll go ahead and talk about it. As of right now, it's canceled, but I don't know how far, if it's canceled enough where they're moving it to the December 12th. But
yeah, they're moving it. The line, I think they had it set at 17.5, which is, I guess fair enough. But yeah, like you said, not going to be watching that game this week.
All right, so we'll talk about the games that will be on. Georgia at Missouri. Do we see kind of a hangover from Georgia, let down? They gave up, pretty much the division lead. There's nothing they got to keep winning, but I feel like they just got their wins knocked out knocked out of their sails, excuse me. I think we could see an upset this week. It's at Missouri. I'm going to say Missouri gets an upset this week. Missouri wins over Georgia.
I think that's crazy talk. I think 13.5 may be. I mean, that's a decent spread, indicating that it's going to be a pretty good win for Georgia. And I think coming off that loss, Kirby Smart's going to have these guys ready to play. They're going to have to figure something out at the quarterback situation because they looked horrid, under center there. But if they can figure that out, I think they win this one handily. I'm not a big believer in this Missouri football team.
Okay. Kentucky at Vanderbilt. Kentucky 16.5-point favorite. So you got
Kentucky. Vanderbilt looks pretty bad. Now, Kentucky, on the other hand, they're certainly not lighting the world on fire, but the line at 16.5 seems high.
I do too. I like it.
Same time, Vandy is probably that bad, so I would take Kentucky in that matchup.
I'll take Kentucky in that matchup, but they don't reach 16 points. I think it'd be a 10-point win.
Okay. So they don't go.
All right, last one. South Carolina travels to Oxford and plays Ole Miss, 10.5 points.
10.5 points, and Ole Miss favored in that one?
Yes.
Okay, wow. I guess mainly because of this last week, you saw South Carolina pretty well exposed on the offensive side of the football. I think you take Ole Miss. Go with your old ball coach down there. Yeah.
Do you take the 10-point?
They're going to have to win by 11. I think they can do that.
I think they'll do more than that. I think they'll win by 3 or 4 touchdowns here.
Okay.
I think they blow that lead out of the water. So that's all the college games I got. Like I said, the Bama LSU, Tennessee A&M game, all postponed. On bye week this week is Mississippi State and Auburn. So we'll just jump right into the NFL. Texans and Browns. Sunday, the Browns are 3-point favorites, 53.5 over and under. Who do you got?
Well, you saw the Texans struggle with Jacksonville last week. There's just not a lot that I like as far as on that team other than Deshaun Watson, and he's running for his life, always. I think the Browns can rebound and get things done coming off the bye week. I think they're going to have a good plan coming into this game. I think they're going to try to get Landry involved early and often. And, I think Baker can handle this. The Lions 3, I think they win by at least a touchdown. I'd go with the Browns.
Agreed. I like that. I'm going to go with the Browns on this one. Even though Watson's there, dude's going to get hit a lot. Myles Garrett's going to get back there and make his life a living hell. So we'll go with that. Browns get the dub and actually.
I think you can hit the over. I think there's going to be points scored in this game, and I think the Texans are going to be able to put up some points. So if the Browns are going to win, they're going to have to go out there and score.
Right. I agree.
Eagles. McFarland take of the night.
Oh, Booger McFarland. Good.
If you want to win the game, you're going to have to go out there and score some points.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I say that every time he speaks about something. But we got the Eagles at the Giants. Another NFC East snoozer.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles are favored 3.5 with 44.5 over and under.
The Giants are bad. The Eagles are bad. The Eagles are not as bad, I don't think. I would take the Eagles.
I agree, the Eagles. We don't have to stretch on any more than that. Bucks at the Panthers. Bucks are 4.5 favorites, 50.5 over and under. Who you got?
Yeah, interesting matchup. A nice little divisional rivalry, and 4.5 points with the Bucks favored is kind of surprising the way that both these teams played last week, because I thought the Panthers were going to handle things against Kansas City. The first bet I ever made in Vegas, as far as at a sports book, I did this past weekend. I just put a little wager straight up as far as with them beating the Chiefs last week, being the Panthers, they just about pulled that bad boy out. So I watched a lot of that game is what I'm trying to say. I think that offense is looking pretty good. Now, McCaffrey played a lot of that offense, and it looks like he's going to miss some time. And so that's why I'd imagine the way that the Bucks played, that they're still favored in this one, and you're counting on Tom Brady turning things around. I would think him and Antonio Brown probably figure it out. Maybe he's an issue. Maybe he's one of the reasons things didn't gel. You saw those guys weren't on the same page on a couple of the routes this past week. But I don't know if that's more on Brady, more on Antonio Brown. Brown's going to take fall for anything going wrong with that connection, though. I think they figure it out, though. I think the Bucs can win this one pretty handily against the Panthers if they are without McCaffrey. 50.5 as far as the over seems like a no-brainer there. I think the Bucs are going to figure out how to score some points.
Upset of the week here. I think the Panthers get the win over the Bucs, and the Bucs continue the slump.
You heard it here first.
All right, there you go. Next one, the Jags at Panthers. The Jags at Packers. Excuse me. Packers are favored 13.5, 52 over and under. Can we just say at least the Packers are just going to wipe the Jags all over the field?
Packers are hot.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers, say no more. It's at home. I expect him to handily take care of the Jags. I wouldn't have an issue at all, betting the line as far as 13.5.
And then also Devontae Adams has just been a monster, just to say very least, since he's come back and just made that offense a lot better.
Well, and he's spreading that ball around, too. You're seeing a lot of these other receivers on that Green Bay offense catching some passes in the end zone.
And the scary thing is they're still doing it without Aaron Jones. So this offense is clicking, and it just goes to show you that A-Rod is the motor that makes that sucker run and makes it run good. So, yes, I think the Packers get the win easily, 13 points, no problem. So we'll go on to the next game. Ooh, this should be a fun game. Bills at the Cardinals. This should be a fun, high-scoring game. Josh Allen versus Kyler Murray. 2-point favorites for the Cardinals. Shocking. Who do you got?
Dolphins figured out Arizona last week, and I think they're going to be looking at the film in this one as far as with Buffalo. Buffalo hot coming off of last week, and the Cardinals defense going to have their hands full. That offense can keep that momentum going. I would take the Bills in this matchup. Cardinals favored by 2. Over-under wasn't posted at the time I checked it earlier, but I would think that some points are probably going to get put up in this game. They're playing in Arizona.
I say they at least score 55 points total together. I think the Bills will get the win here. It's odd that the Cardinals are 2-point favorites. I mean, what do they know? I mean, I guess they know something that we don't, but all I know is the Cardinals defense has some questions. You don't need to have questions against Josh Allen, man, because the dude's finally caught that niche again, and he's balling out again. So I guess I'm going to get the Bills here for the win.
Okay.
So we got Broncos at the Raiders. Raiders are 5.5-point favorites, 52 over and under. Who you got?
Raiders. And I think this could be a low-scoring affair, too. As soon as I say that, they're going to combine for like 70. But I think it could be a low-scoring affair. I think you're going to see both teams try to keep things on the ground potentially in this game. But I think you can take the Raiders. They're favored by 5.5. I just think that they're going to cover that in a low-scoring affair.
I'm going with the Las Vegas Raiders on this, man. I'm going to have to go stick with John Gruden and them boys down there. They're getting it good, man. They're still hanging around second place and possibly a wild card. I don't see no problem here. Carr should continually have a good day with this offense. Raiders win, and I think they'll cover. Next one, we got the Chargers who continually find ways to lose. Maybe we should start making them the new Falcons. Who knows? And they go at the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are cooking right now with Tua, but I think it's because mostly of that defense. So I'm going to say that. That defense is – I'm high on that Miami defense. So the defense, the Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites, 48 over and under. Who you got?
It's a showdown of rookie quarterbacks and rookie quarterbacks that are playing pretty good. Anthony Lynn, you feel bad for the guy. They've found all kinds of ways to blow games, really close games this year. I liked him watching Hard Knocks. And I like the way that they've played, especially with the rookie quarterback there and how they've managed to kind of fit that offense around him and play to his strengths. Tua looked pretty good this past week after not having to do much the week before, and you mentioned the defense for the Dolphins playing at a pretty high level. I still think it's a little – now, Miami's the home team, so, that's why they're definitely going to be favored in this one, especially 2.5. I think the Chargers can cover that. I think they're going to find a way to win this one. They got to be tired of losing, right? And
I
they're not
agree.
playing bad football. It's just going to be a matter of getting things done down the stretch, closing a game out. But I think the Chargers come out here and get it done. I think they could win by double digits in this one. The Dolphins playing good. They're playing hard. Maybe a Coach of the Year candidate down there for Flores, but still not a ton of talent down there as far as that goes. And I think the Chargers could expose some things.
They could. They should make a line like, what are the chances that the Chargers blow a 10-point lead again? They should. I guarantee there is a line out there. There has to be a line out there. Has to be. No, I think the Chargers are going to lose again. Find a new way to lose the game. Miami Dolphins has got the win, and they'll cover. Probably a 3-point win. So we'll say 3-point win. So next game, the Bengals at the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. Mind you, the Pittsburgh Steelers about dropped one to the boys, last week. And the Bengals have got a little bit more together on offense, but I think the Steelers are kind of snoozing last week a little bit. So the Steelers are 6.5-point favorites, 45 on and under. Who do you got?
It's going to be interesting. We talked about the walking boot, could be coming back. Oh, Ben got beat up in this past game against the Cowboys.
You got
some
whooped up.
Questions about the offensive line, too. But, yeah, it surprised me the way they struggled against the Cowboys with, you never know when all the Cowboys struggles this season. But they did find a way to get it done, stay undefeated. The Bengals coming in there, and as Titans fans, we know what Joe Burrow and that Bengals offense can do. So, the Steelers favored by a touchdown here, 6.5. This could be the week they lose their first game, Chuck. I kind of want to go with the Bengals in this one. It's a feisty young team. And, if you're giving them 6.5 points, look, Joe Burrow can score some points. This could be the wild card for me this week where I'm taking the Bengals over the Steelers.
I'm with you. This is my second upset of the week. I looked at this and I was thinking the Bengals, they beat us and the Steelers have come off. They struggled, and like you said, Big Ben may be a little dinged up after this game. I'm going to go with the Bengals here for the win, upset of the week.
Some people say, though, that Big Ben really doesn't get started playing until he gets his first, real injury of the season, right?
I know. So it makes me wonder. So 49ers at the Saints. Saints are 9.5-point favorites coming off a big shellacking against the Bucs. 9.5 favorites over the 49ers with a 49 over and under. Who you got?
Saints getting healthy again on offense, and it showed against Tampa Bay. 9.5 points. It's a pretty big spread for a pretty big reason. The Saints a lot better team than the 49ers this year. 49ers have dealt with some injuries, but they're getting some guys back now. The Saints, I think they've got everything clicking. I wouldn't have any trouble picking them to win this game by 10 points.
Nice. Okay. Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams are favored by 2 points with a 55 over and under.
I think I'm going to go with the Seahawks. The Rams favored by 2, I guess, because they're at home. Seahawks coming off of pretty surprising loss where Russell had some real struggles, man, as far as throwing the football in that one. Got a little erratic where he'd been very consistent all season. I think you're going to have some of those games from time to time, especially when you're leaned on so much from an offensive perspective. With that being said, he's a guy that's capable of shouldering the load most weeks anyways. And the Seahawks are going to bounce back this week against the Rams, in my opinion. You're giving them 2 points. If you're giving the Seahawks any points against the Los Angeles Rams, I'm taking the Seahawks 10 out of 10 times.
I'm with you. It puzzles me that they got the Rams actually 2-point favorites. I know that the Seahawks came off it wasn't a bad loss. First of all, the Bills are actually a good team. The Bills had their numbers just like the Bengals had our number. So that doesn't mean that the Seahawks are in disarray. Seahawks get the dub over the LA Rams and establish their dominance in a very good NFC West division. So, yes, Seahawks get the dub. The Ravens at the Patriots. Patriots barely squeaked by the winless Jets. So the Patriots are 7-point underdogs, 43.5 over and under. Who you got?
We saw Cam Newton, turn things around, but they let the Jets hang around for a real long time. New England, we know from a talent perspective, most of their guys on the defensive side of the ball opted out, and they just struggled, honestly. And against the Jets last week in a game that I expected them to just roll. Actually, we saw it on Monday Night Football. It makes you question even more what New England's got going on. And when they're going into this matchup against the Ravens, I think Lamar Jackson actually is going to get things going this week on the ground with that arm. He's not really lit it up on the stat sheet lately. This may be the week where he gets things turned around. And the Patriots, they're going to have their hands full containing the running game of the Ravens. A full touchdown, those 7 points, touchdown and an extra point here, 7 points to line. So they're going to have to win by 8+. I don't think the Ravens are going to have any trouble with that. Sometimes we've seen some classics between these two teams. I don't think we're going to see that this year.
I'm with you. I think the running game is going to get going, and the Patriots have struggled against the run this year. I don't know if the passing game is going to do that well for the Ravens. All they got to do is run it with Gus Edwards, Dobbins. If Ingram comes back, just whoever. It could be Lamar Jackson all game. Just as long as the running game gets going, you got the Patriots. Patriots ranked near the bottom of the league. That's my reason for the Ravens getting the dub this week over the Pats. Will they cover 7? Doubt it. I think it'll be they'll score 3 points, enough to get by, but they won't reach a full touchdown.
Okay.
So the next one, Vikings at the Bears. So a good old NFC North matchup. Vikings making a little resurgence. Dalvin Cook has just been on fire the last 2 weeks. Faces a very good defense, but a horrid offense in Chicago. The Vikings 2.5-point favorites, 44.5 over and under. Who you got?
The Vikings. Now they're playing at Chicago. Vikings favored by 2.5. They've got the over-under set at 44.5. I think you mentioned that. So, not expecting a real barn burner up there, but you could very well see that. The Bears that we saw this past week against the Titans did pretty well against the run. 21 rushes, kept Derrick Henry under 100 yards, under 70 yards, I believe, in that contest. And you saw what Dalvin Cook's been doing. He's been on an absolute tear the past 2 weeks. So they're going to have their hands full trying to contain him. But you saw Kirk Cousins play pretty well this past week as well. Him and Irv Smith, they connected a few times in the end zone. And that's a young guy I think we're going to see a lot more of as far as the tight end out there in Minnesota. And, they've got some good receivers out there, Thielen, Jefferson, those guys, talk about number 19s, right? But in this contest, I think it's a pretty easy bet to put your money on Minnesota. I think they're going to find a way to run a balanced attack with Dalvin Cook being so hot. I would think Chicago's going to have to key on him. Kirk Cousins going to find a way to get it done through the air.
Agreed with you 100%. I think we're going to see Jefferson have probably his best game. I feel like he's going to have like an A.J. Brown game, make a couple of touchdowns, make some grown man catches against a secondary that's been struggling the last couple of weeks. I think Cook's going to be Cook. Is he going to reach 200 yards again? I doubt it. I think we might see a little over 100 yards. The Bears are going to be keying in on this guy. But I think the Vikings continue their surgence and get a W over the Bears. So, yes, I think the Vikings win, and I think they win over more than 2.5 points. As far as the over and under goes, what the hell? Let's say they get the over. I'm going to say they get over.
There you go. All right. So there you have it. As far as if you're looking to place those bets, I'm going to be running some parlays. That we've also got the Masters coming up. I put a little bet down on Tiger Woods to win the Masters on the FanDuel app there. For like $5 to win like $250 or whatever, because it's plus something crazy for him to actually win the Masters. But you never know. Also, Rahm, did you see that shot today? A little par 3 out there in practice at the Masters.
That was crazy.
Dipped it off the water onto the green, hole in one. That blew my mind. Maybe the greatest golf shot I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. That was crazy. I mean, it's like the talk of the Masters so far because, I mean, it literally skipped like a rock, rolls, and I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me? Eat your heart out, Shooter McGavin. Man, that was awesome. There was another one, too. I watched. It was a drive. Some kid was driving on the green, and he swung it as hard as he could, and it was like 201 miles an hour. Insane. It was crazy, man. So, yeah, pretty nuts.
Yeah, but that Ron shot, though, man, a Rom there, just like something out of Space Jam, right? You saw that thing once it hit the green. I was like, there's no way. There's no way. That just went in the hole.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. And I felt like it's just we're in for a good Masters, I feel. My battery's about to die on my computer. Why don't we go ahead and shut her down, Ryan? You got any closing thoughts you want to go over?
Man, I think we've covered a lot of ground. Let's hope that COVID stays away from our sports and that we keep things rolling. We're liking what we're seeing on the field for the Titans as far as that goes, and we got the NBA draft coming up. Go sports. Go
sports indeed, man. I feel like, like you said with the COVID thing, if we continue just to, follow what we need to make sure it's safe, like the rushing the field thing with Clemson, yes, I'm all about the thing in Notre Dame. Did you see that Notre Dame thing where they rushed the field?
Sure did.
You need to be a little bit smarter with that. I know I'm not a Corona bro by any stretch necessary, but you got to be smart. We got to get through this season. I want to continue having football. Let's not do anything stupid to ruin that. I want to continue having sports. Folks, just be smart out there. Be safe. Be with your families. Thanksgiving's around the corner. Can't wait for Thanksgiving. The Masters, good. I'm glad Masters is back. You can tell I'm hyped up, man. I'm ready to go, man. I'm really excited. Go sports indeed. Follow us on Twitter. There's my name right there. Ryan's name is on the other side there. But give us a follow. We also have our Twitter for our main podcast, the Run and Shoot podcast. It's Run and Shoot Pod 1. Follow us. Give us any suggestions you think. I have a Parler now. If you don't know what that is, that's a little social media. I've got it. I had to, man. I have Parler. It's at CHIX, CHIX53. Give me a follow there if you watch us on here on Parler. We have got our Facebook page. Any suggestions you want to lay out, go ahead. Just look it up. It's just Run and Shoot Podcast. Look us up there. YouTube. Don't forget our YouTube page. We got our YouTube page where you can subscribe, like our content anytime you need. Give us a comment. Give us a thumbs up on our content. Having fun doing it. Like I said, we're on 19. We're going to be on 20 next week. Fun times, man. Even better times. It gets better all the time when we do it, Ryan, don't we?
That's right, Chuck.
God, man. I'll go ahead and close this down, buddy, and then we'll call it a night, man. As for the Run and Shoot podcast, I'm Chuck. Catch you next time, everybody.